I let my brother crash on my couch after his divorce. One night I got home and my bank card was declined. He looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You shouldn't have left your laptop open." He drained my savings, sent money to his ex, and bought a motorcycle. I called the police. At his arraignment, he asked me for bail. I just stared at him and walked away. It's been 6 months since it all happened, but it still eats at me. This isn't some made-up story or some dramatic movie script. This happened. To me. To my life. My name's Kyle. I'm 38, and I live in a modest 2-bedroom apartment in Fairfield, Ohio, just outside Cincinnati. I've lived here for years. It's not fancy, but it's quiet, and I liked it that way. I've worked the same job at a big distribution center, forklift operator, since I was 26. Pays decent. There's hard work, long shifts, but I've always been able to manage. I had a little nest egg saved, around $32,000. Took me almost 7 years to put that together. I was planning to buy a small house. Not a dream home, but something that was mine. That dream is gone now. It started last fall when my younger brother Drew showed up. He was 3 years younger than me, 35, but always acted like the older one. Loud, impulsive, full of bad ideas and no follow-through. He'd just gone through his second divorce. He was sleeping in his car after getting kicked out of his apartment. He had nothing. No job. No money. No friends willing to take him in. I'll be honest, I hesitated. We weren't close. Drew always found a way to screw up and leave others picking up the pieces. Last time I saw him before this, he'd borrowed $500 for car repairs and ghosted me for 8 months. Still hadn't paid me back. But when he showed up on my doorstep, eyes red, backpack slung over one shoulder, I caved. I guess part of me still wanted to believe he could change. I let him stay. I gave him the couch. Told him it was temporary, 2 weeks, maybe 3. I didn't want a roommate. He said he understood. Promised he'd get back on his feet. Said all the right things. First few days? Fine. He helped clean up. Cooked spaghetti one night. We watched old football reruns and drank beer. I started to relax a little. Figured maybe he really just needed a reset. But small things started to feel off. A $20 bill went missing from the envelope I kept in the junk drawer. Then my phone charger was gone. Drew acted clueless. Weird, man. Maybe you left it at work. I knew I hadn't. I brushed it off. Then I noticed he wasn't really applying for jobs. He'd say he was going out to look, but hours later I'd find him at home, watching TV or napping. One day I came home early from work and saw him drinking a beer at noon. My beer? I didn't say anything, but it pissed me off. Still, I tried to be patient. He was family. Family helps each other. Right? Then came the night everything fell apart. It was a Thursday. Long shift at the warehouse. I was dead tired and decided to grab dinner on my way home. There's this little Mexican place down the street. I ordered, handed over my card, and the waitress came back and said it was declined. I laughed. Try again. It's probably just a chip issue. Nope. Declined again. I used my backup card. It worked. I figured maybe it was just some fraud alert. It's happened before. But when I got home, I sat down and pulled out my laptop to check my account. My stomach dropped. My checking? Empty. Savings? Gone. Not low. Gone. Over $32,000 drained in less than 2 weeks. Transfer after transfer. Same names. One stood out immediately, Melinda. His ex-wife. Another name I didn't recognize, and then a charge from a motorcycle dealership on Route 4. I knew the place. Drove by it every day on the way to work. They had a brand new red Kawasaki sitting out front. I'd even joked about it once. I didn't even log out. I stood up and walked straight to the living room. Drew was on the couch, feet up, watching a movie. Shirtless, chips in his lap, living like he owned the place. You been messing with my bank account? I asked, dead serious. He turned and looked at me. No shame. No panic. Just dead eyes. You shouldn't have left your laptop open, he said. Flat. Like it was nothing. That moment, something snapped in me. I felt sick. The kind of sick you get when something awful clicks into place and there's no taking it back. You stole from me? He shrugged. I needed a fresh start, man. You had the money. You weren't even using it. He stood up and grabbed a soda from the fridge like we were talking about borrowing socks. I figured I'd pay you back once I got on my feet. Melinda needed some help. She's got the kids, you know? And the motorcycle? I said. He smirked. You used to love bikes. Don't act like it's a waste. I walked back to my room, shut the door, and called the police. I gave them every detail. Bank records, timestamps, even his texts to his ex about sending her what he could. I gave them everything. They showed up 20 minutes later. He screamed at me as they cuffed him, called me every name you can think of. I'm your brother. You're doing this over some cash? Over a dumb bike? I didn't say a word. I just watched. 2 days later, I went to his arraignment. He looked like hell. Jumpsuit, messy hair, eyes sunken. When the judge mentioned bail, Drew looked straight at me from across the courtroom. Kyle, he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. Don't leave me in here. I swear I'll pay you back. I stood. I looked at him. And I walked out. I haven't spoken to him since. The silence after everything happened was heavier than I expected. At first, I thought I'd feel relief, like I finally stood up for myself. But what I really felt was hollow. I kept thinking, how the hell did it come to this? He was my brother. I'd known him since we were kids. I'd seen him cry when Dad died. I'd helped him move 3 times. I gave him money when he needed it. And in return, he gutted my life and looked me in the eye like I deserved it. I couldn't sleep much that first week. Every night I'd lie in bed, replaying it. His voice. That smirk. The keys on the table. I stopped eating real meals. Just microwaved frozen burritos and drank too much beer. Work started to notice. My supervisor, Rick, pulled me aside. You all right, man? You've been messing up loads all week. I told him the truth. Just the short version. Family betrayal. Money gone. Brother in jail. Rick whistled. Jesus. You file charges. Yeah. Good. Don't let that crap slide. I wish that was the end of it. I wish he sat in jail, learned a lesson, and the world moved on. But Drew wasn't done screwing up my life. A week later, I got a letter from the bank. My account was flagged. Apparently, Drew didn't just transfer money, he opened 2 credit cards in my name. Ran up over $12,000 before the arrest. One of them was maxed out at a liquor store, a pawn shop, and a place called Crimson Girls. I didn't even want to know. I called the fraud line, spent hours on hold, filed more police reports. One of the reps asked if I'd like to freeze my credit. I said yes. I should have done that months ago. Then it got worse. Melinda, his ex, called me. No idea how she got my number. Why the hell would you call the cops on your own brother? She said first thing. Excuse me? He gave me that money to help with the kids. He stole it. You make good money. You're single. You don't have kids. You didn't need it. I hung up. The next day, someone slashed the tires on my truck. For tires. Deep cuts. Looked like a box cutter. Cops came out. Filed a report. No cameras in the lot. No proof. But I knew. She'd done it. Or someone she sent. That same night, I got a message request on Facebook from someone named Mace. Profile pic was a guy with tattoos all over his neck and a pit bull in his lap. The message said, "Snitches get cut. You're lucky he's your brother." I took screenshots. Sent them to the detective handling the fraud case. He said they'd look into it. The hits kept coming. The dealership called. They said Drew never made a payment on the motorcycle and they were coming after me because he listed my address as the cosigner. I never signed anything. I told them that. They said, we have a copy of the paperwork. Someone forged my signature. Again. Another trip to the police station. Then the eviction notice showed up. Not from my landlord, from his old place. Apparently, he'd used my name and my social security number on his last lease too. Back rent was piling up. They thought I owed it. I had to take time off work. Go to the courthouse. File identity theft claims. Every place I went, they looked at me like I was some deadbeat. I'd explain again and again, my brother did this. My brother. They'd nod, but I could feel the judgment. My apartment started to feel like a trap. Everywhere I looked, there was something that reminded me of him. The couch. The dishes he used. The corner where he left his shoes. I finally snapped when I found an old hoodie of his in the laundry basket. I took it out to the dumpster. Then I grabbed everything else, his toothbrush, the cheap cologne, the lighter with his initials, and I tossed it all. I thought about moving. Just packing up and leaving Ohio altogether. But then I thought, why should I leave? He's the one who screwed up. I wasn't going to run from this. So I started documenting everything. I built a folder, digital and physical. Copies of police reports. bank statements, signed affidavits, photos of the damage. I hired a lawyer. Not a fancy one. Just someone who could help me clean up the legal mess. Then the twist came. One morning I got a call from a woman named Monica. She said she was Drew's public defender. She asked if I'd consider dropping the charges. I laughed. You're joking, right? Mr. Walker, I understand you're upset, but your brother is facing serious prison time. This could ruin his life. Lady, he ruined mine. She paused. Then she said something that stopped me cold. Well, he claims he did it because you owed him. What? He said you two had an arrangement. That the money was part of a long-standing agreement. That he was just collecting what was his. That's a lie. Yes. But he's pushing for a trial. If he convinces a jury that there was some sort of deal, there wasn't. I believe you. But you'll have to testify. And they're going to drag everything out. They'll look into your records. Your relationship. Any texts. Emails. It'll get ugly. It already was ugly. I didn't care. I told her to do her job and I'd do mine. I wasn't done yet. A few weeks later, I was called to testify at the pretrial hearing. I wore my best work shirt, the one I usually saved for interviews or funerals. My palms were sweating, but I walked in with my head up. I wasn't about to let him flip this on me. Drew sat at the defendant's table. Orange jumpsuit. No smirk this time. Just staring straight ahead like I didn't exist. He looked thinner. Paler. But I didn't feel sorry for him. I felt angry. The kind of cold, tired anger that sinks into your bones and stays there. When I got called to the stand, they asked me basic stuff first. My name. My job. How I knew the defendant. Then they got into it. Did you ever authorize your brother to access your bank account? No. Did you give him your password? No. Did you discuss any financial arrangement with him? Any agreement that he could take money from you? No. Never. Then the defense lawyer came up. Monica. She was polite but firm. Mr. Walker, do you recall giving your brother any money in the past? Yes. Once. $500. He never paid it back. Did you document that? No. I trusted him. She nodded, made a few notes, and then said something that nearly made me lose it. So is it fair to say you've given your brother money before and expected nothing in return? No, I said, voice rising. That was a loan. This was theft. There's a difference. Of course, she said, calm as ever. But to someone in need, wouldn't the lines feel blurry? I stared at her, then glanced at Drew. He still wouldn't look at me. That's what he's trying to do? I said, make it look blurry? The judge banged the gavel gently and told me to stick to answering questions. I did. But inside I was boiling. After the hearing, my lawyer caught up to me outside. He's stalling, she said. Dragging this out, hoping you'll get tired, maybe settle. But you're holding strong. That's good. Let him stall, I said. I'm not giving in. 2 days later, I got a knock at the door. It was early morning, right before work. A guy in a blue jumpsuit handed me a sealed envelope. Inside was a summons. Drew was suing me. He was filing a civil claim, accusing me of intentional emotional distress, wrongful eviction, and financial coercion. He was trying to flip the entire situation. The court date was set for 2 months out. I called my lawyer furious. This is a joke, right? Unfortunately, it's not. He has the right to file. And now we have to respond. You're telling me I have to spend more money fighting this guy in court again? Yes, but it might work in our favor. If he pushes too hard, he could trip himself up. He'll be on record contradicting the criminal case. Felt like a game to him. Like he was sitting in jail thinking, if I'm going down, I'm taking Kyle with me. But here's where it twisted again. A week before the civil hearing, I got another phone call. This time from a woman named Jenny. She said she was Drew's first ex-wife. Not Melinda. The first one, his college sweetheart. I barely remembered her. She told me she'd heard what happened and wanted to talk. I was wary, but I agreed to meet her at a diner in town. When I got there, she slid into the booth across from me. She looked tired. Older than I remembered. But not bitter. Just worn out. I heard what Drew did, she said quietly. And I believe you. Thanks, I said. That's more than most have said. She reached into her purse and pulled out a folder. It was thick. He did the same thing to me, she said. Not this bad, but close. Open cards in my name. Took out a loan pretending to be me. When I found out, he said it was for us. I left the next week. I didn't press charges. I was scared. She slid the folder across the table. Maybe this helps. Inside were old statements, letters, copies of emails and screenshots. It was a goldmine, proof of a pattern. I thanked her, paid for her coffee. We didn't say much after that. The next morning, I gave the folder to my lawyer. 3 days later, Drew's civil suit was dismissed. Judge threw it out for lack of merit, and because his pattern of behavior was now clearly documented. But the criminal trial was still looming. And Drew? He still had one more card to play. The criminal trial began 2 months later. I had my folder, my lawyer, and a tight ball of anger I'd been holding in for nearly a year. Drew was there too. Orange jumpsuit. No smug smile this time. His eyes were hollow. I think part of him finally realized this was real. No one was coming to save him. The courtroom was cold. Wooden benches. The hum of the ceiling fan. I sat with my lawyer while the prosecution laid it all out. They had everything. Bank records, forged credit card applications, signed lease forms in my name, and now the documents from Jenny, his first ex-wife. When I got called up, I didn't hold back. I told the jury exactly what happened, step by step. From the moment he showed up on my doorstep to the look on his face when he said, "You shouldn't have left your laptop open." People in the courtroom shook their heads. A few of them actually gasped when I told them about the slashed tires, the forged signature for the motorcycle, the fake civil lawsuit. Then came the defense. Monica tried, but it was weak. She leaned hard on family loyalty and mental stress. Drew never took the stand, probably for the best. His mouth always made things worse. Closing arguments ended on a Friday. The jury came back Monday afternoon. Guilty. On all counts. Identity theft. Fraud. Forgery. Theft over $10,000. Wire fraud. Sentenced to 6 years. No parole for at least 4. I didn't cry. I didn't smile. I just sat there, staring straight ahead as the judge read the sentence. Drew looked back at me once. Just once. And I saw something I hadn't seen before. Fear. He knew it was over. But the story didn't end there. A month later, I was going through a box of Drew's old stuff that the police returned, things he'd left behind when they arrested him. One of the notebooks had scribbles. Notes. Sketches. And on one of the last pages, he'd written something that made my stomach turn. "If Kyle doesn't help me, I'll burn his life to the ground." What does he have, really? No wife. No kids. No future. He's just a guy with a bank account. He wrote that before I called the cops. Before the trial. He planned it. All of it. Every lie. Every move. Like I was a piece in a game he thought he could win. I sat there for a long time holding that notebook. That's when it hit me I wasn't just a victim. I'd let this happen. I saw the signs. I ignored them. I wanted to believe the best in him. I wanted to be the good brother. And it almost destroyed me. I made a vow that night. No more guilt. No more saving people who don't want to be saved. I sold the couch he slept on. Burned the notebook. Changed every password I had. Froze my credit for life. I even got a tattoo on my forearm. A simple black line with a break in the middle. The artist asked what it meant. I said, "It's where I cut ties." Drew's still in prison. I get updates when he tries to appeal. He won't win. I made sure of that. My folder is thicker now. Stronger. Just like me. He burned the bridge. I let it fall. And I walked away without looking back.